Jungo is a game published by Happy Camper, and it's a simple abstract card game. And when I saw some images online, it kind of gave me the same vibe as Trio, also published by the same publisher. They will go together well on a shelf. And since I like Trio immensely, I really wanted to give a try to Jungo. So again, as we said, very simple card game. And so the game is a deck of cards and a rule book, and that's what you get, and that's really all that you need here. Again, very simple and abstract, although it's cute to see these nice little monkeys frolicking around. The deck is made of cards that are really coded only by the number. There's not like 6 of hearts or 7 or bananas. So you got cards from 1 to 8 copies of each, and then you have some cards with a double value that can be used as either of the numbers indicated there. I showed you a 7 and an 8. This could be a 1 or a 2. You shuffle, and then you give people a hand of cards that changes based on the number of players. Suppose you're playing with 3, so we go with 10 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The purpose of the game is to get rid of all of your cards. The first player to empty their hand entirely wins the round. Now, when I pick up my cards, it's super important, you cannot change the order of the cards in your hand, and that's kind of the key thing here. Now, when it is your turn, you can either play a combination of cards, which is what you will usually want to do because you're trying to get rid of your cards, or you draw a card from the deck, but we'll see how that goes. You will wanna, as much as possible, to play a combination of cards. Now, if you're the first player, you can play a single card, or again, a combination of cards. A combination of cards will be a number of cards that have the same value, and they're already adjacent to each other in your hand. So for example, I can use the 5, 6 as a 5, so this would be a combination of 5 and 5. I could use this as a combination of 6 and 6. I cannot combine this 5 with those because they're not next to each other in my hand. And right now my hand kind of really sucks a bit, so I'm gonna play these 2 cards as 5 and 5. Now, my opponents will try with their hand of cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. With their hands, they will try to beat that. How do you beat that? By playing a combination that has the same amount of cards, in which case it would be 2 cards, with a higher value. So 2 6s, 2 7, 2 8s, or things like that. Suppose this is what I had in my hand. You wouldn't be able to move it around like that in real. You can beat that by playing a combination that has the same number of cards but higher value, or a combination with more cards, so 3 or more, as long as they have the same value regardless of the value. So you're trying to beat the value by playing the same number of cards higher, or you're trying to beat the number of cards ignoring the whatchamacallit, ignoring the value. And here, with 2 8s, I can beat that combination, so now I play that one. What happens to that one? Either, as the player who just defeated that, I can discard it, or I can add it to my hand. And when I add it to my hand, I can place it wherever I want, even in different places, but again, once you add them to your hand, then they're locked. So as you can see now, I made these cards that I had a lot more powerful, because now I have a combination of either 4 5s, there's a lot more stuff that you can beat with 4 5s, or even I could then later play it as 3 5s and 2 6s. I'm pretty happy with that. That's the combination I left on the table. We go back to the previous player who now has to try to beat 2 8s. So they need either 2, well, they can't have 2 9s because there's nothing in the game, so the only way to beat that would be with 3 cards of the same value next to each other. That doesn't happen. So what happens if you can't beat the combination on the table? Then you draw a card, and you can do one of 3 things. You can add it to your hand anywhere you want, and once you do so, it's locked. Or you can discard it, or you can play it immediately if it forms a combination that beats the current one. In this case, I just do this. I add it to my hand, and that's all I've done. We go back to this player. What happens if the game goes back to you and the combination you played is still the winning one? Then you discard it, and then you can now, you got, the world is your oyster, the table is your dreamland. You can do whatever you want. You can play any combination, again, including a single card, which is how, it's a great way to get rid of the stinkers here. I'm gonna play the one. But you see, when you win this one and you play a bad card or a card that is very weak, then you're also making it easier for the next player to go, because beating a single one, I can beat it with a single two and I can discard it, but I think didn't have a two in my hand. Ah, there you go. I want to put it in my hand, making that a little bit better. Now the player needs to beat a single two. That's pretty easy. Is it though? Is it really? It is. I'll beat it with 2 6s, and so on and so forth. Oh no, I'm gonna keep that too because I want to do that. That's the idea. You keep playing like this, trying to beat the combination on the table, celebrating when your combination wasn't beaten, because then that resets the table and you can get rid of some silly stuff. Adding cards to your hand in order to consolidate combinations that you will play later. The first player to get rid of all of their cards wins the round, and that may happen quickly, and so you may play multiple rounds and see who is the winner of your little tournament. Jungo is a very simple game. The box describes it as a simple game full of not so simple choices. Now, usually I like tough choices in a game. I still think that the choices in this game are usually fairly easy, fairly natural, and yet instead of feeling boring, to me, they felt almost like soothing. There was something extremely pleasant into, oh, I collect this card and I'm making a better set. Now with my set I'm gonna beat yours, and that allows me to build a better set. And so you see that through your fairly simple choices, your initial fairly messed up hand becomes more and more powerful. And there's a nice, almost like a circle of life there, because I got a great combo and some stinkers in my hand. Because my great combo was unbeaten, then I can play a bad card, which helps other people start getting rid of their cards and kind of get in a better position. The way the cards go around, and again your combos improve, is really nice and satisfying, very satisfying. At the same time, of course, the other players are doing exactly the same, and so it's still a race to see who is the one who is going to fix their hand and get rid of it first. Again, the strategy is very simple, the game is very simple, and nothing wrong with a bit of a filler or a game to cool off. And literally, this is a game that we played at the end of a game night where we had the first main game and a second lighter game, and then we still wanted to play something for a cool down activity at the end of game night. Then we started playing this one, and actually over and over and over we kept going. We played it with 4 players and with 2 players. Now, yes, the box says 2 to 5, and with 4, I find that the game was extremely enjoyable and was, I believe, where it needs to be, where it should be. It moves fast enough that you're not going to have downtime, but you have a little bit of time to think, to prepare, to get, most importantly, to get excited about the combo that you have, hoping that the other people don't put a better one out. Playing it with 2, the rulebook warns you that the game can be fast. With 2, it's way too fast and anticlimactic. The friend I was playing it with, and she was the one shuffling the cards because I'm bad at it, pointed out that with 2, a round lasts more or less than the time it takes to shuffle the deck. And that's just not enough to get interested in it. But as a travel game to play, I recommend with 3, 4, or maybe 5. Then it's really nice. Again, to cool down at the end of a game night as a filler, or as a travel game. I often go camping with my family and with friends who are not regular gamers. That's the kind of game I know we can play together, because putting together sets of the same value, everybody can do that. You can play with very young players, so there's a lot of flexibility there. For a light, simple game that also looks super cute and colorful, this is a good choice.